Hello. I'm so happy to be here on Adam's channel. And thank you so much. Thank you, Adam, for hosting me here today. Adam, can you pop in and say hi for a second? I can't remember. Can you do the split screeny thing? Or are we?
Yes, I can. Yeah, well,
there you are, Adam. Hey, Adam, how you doing?
Yeah, no, great. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you were willing to come on to my channel. I offered this up to a whole bunch of my other puppetry friends, and I'm so glad you were able to jump on it because you do such amazing, awesome stuff. And I'm so excited to let all these fans of puppetry check out your work, and be sure to also check out. He has his own YouTube channel where he makes these amazing videos on how to make all these cool puppet crafts and stuff. And on his Facebook channel, he has his own Patreon as well. And I'm so excited to see what you're going to be doing today.
Thank you so much for bringing me in. I've loved everything you've built up with this channel, with your podcast, with all the lessons that you've been doing. And I'm really excited to have a chance to meet some of the group who's following what you're doing. And I really appreciate the chance to sort of talk a little bit more about what I've been working on, especially now that we're all at home, because this is really new to me too.
Yeah. No, I'm so excited to check it out. And I'm excited for you to be a future guest on the podcast too, so people can learn even more as well. But what's the project we're going to be doing today?
Like I mentioned, the company is Paper Heart, and we do like to work a lot with paper and cardboard. And for those of you just joining us, one of the biggest shows that we do has been called Cardboard Explosion. And Cardboard Explosion is the show where there's a whole bunch of short stories, and each one uses ideas from the audience to come up, and people come up and they build puppets that come together with magnets, or they have ideas for puppets that I kind of cut and make live, or they draw things, or they have ideas for the story. And I wanted to continue that. So one of the big projects I'm working on, actually, I talked with Adam a little bit about this, is a lot of kids have to celebrate their birthday at home without being able to have their friends over. And I wanted to make something a little bit special for everybody who, especially kids who are not able to go out and have a party or do something like that. So I've been working on a way to make a video that uses a lot of the same ideas as my cardboard show, where we get ideas of the things that kids love, and the video is going to be customized with a lot of their own ideas. And I want to show you this kind of puppet. These are made out of cardboard. These are a little bit inspired by some of the same kinds of puppets that Adam makes, the Henson style puppets, only they're flat. So there's a body here that Velcros around my hand like that. And I control the arms just like you might with a Henson style puppet like this. And then the head is a cardboard piece that's held like that. One of the reasons I made it this sort of flat style is, one, that I can make a lot of puppets, and I can even make special puppets for whoever's birthday it is. And because it's flat, I can make them quickly and they all work together well. Whereas if we had sort of a really elaborate 3D foam puppet and some flat stuff, that might not look like it's part of the same world. And also that now the words and the phrases of this, because it's a non-moving mouth puppet, my puppet can say, "Hello, Brian, I'm so happy to see you on your birthday." Or, "Hello, Beth, I'm so happy to see you on your birthday." It's kind of a cheat. I can use the same video. And because we don't have a moving mouth, then we can change the audio to sort of give it that different, those different details and different parts to make it part of their same world. I like the way this character came out. Came out really nice and clean. And I don't think I've seen much of this technique exactly either out there. He works a little bit like your standard sort of Henson style puppet, in that one of my hands is working the arm rods, one of my hands is working the head, but it's entirely flat. So it really only works well head on, but it's pretty good for video. So, and I can get some slight little, dimensional things. He can nod a little bit. He can say no. You get this sort of lovely little shadow here between the head and the body when it's on video that gives it a little bit of depth, but it's still a little bit like a living cartoon. And I'm really enjoying this approach. I want to make more of these kinds of puppets because I like the way it's turning out. I can show you, this one is that I was just showing you, is sort of the hero of that piece, who's going to go on a quest to save the birthday child's missing stolen birthday stuff There's also a sidekick puppet. This one's going to not show up quite as well against my black curtain, but the technique is the same. It's a flat jointed puppet. I put these together actually just with simple brass fasteners. The materials are all super cheap, super quick to work with. I glued in a little bit of Velcro here where it attaches to my arm. And I glued in a handle on the back of each of these puppets that I can grab. And I put that together, and I've got... Oh. Oh. Yeah, and if anybody out there wants to try this kind of puppets, you are very welcome to experiment with it. It's really one of the great things about working with paper and cardboard is that I guarantee you everybody out there can get your hands on some paper and cardboard, even if you don't have the money to pop for sewing machine and Antron fleece and a whole bunch of foam and some barge cement. You can start making your own puppets with really simple materials, and I think you can get some really great results. I like the way these guys are turning out. That looks awesome. Thank you so much, Alan O'Shea. So again, for those of you who are tuning in the middle of this broadcast, just wanted to reintroduce myself really quick. Thank you. That kitty looks great. Thank you so much. My name is Brad, and I'm from Paper Heart Puppets. You can find us in a few places, but right now where you're finding the most content that we're putting up is on our Facebook page, facebook.com/paperheartpuppets. And the couple things that we're doing Build Along with Brad every Monday and Friday at 5:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to be here building puppets and coming up with puppet stories together based on your ideas. That's for the whole family, little kids, older people. I don't swear. It's fine. We're also going to be posting every week or so. We're going to be doing a puppet tutorial with how to make a particular kind of puppet or how to do a particular kind of performance. We've done cardboard dinosaurs. We've done fancy finger puppets. We've done paper mouth puppets. We did how to make a puppet out of a banana. It's a fun one. The one I'm working on now is how not to put on a puppet show. And I think you'll enjoy that one too. And of course, if you want to support the work we're doing, there's a couple really great ways to do it. We are so in love with the people who are our Patreon supporters. And you'll find the link to the Patreon in the description down there. It'll tell you for as little as $1 a month, you can help make all this content happen. And as we go, you can make suggestions that'll become part of our standard videos. We'll be putting out a couple little extras that we're sending just to our Patreon supporters. And the biggest thing you can do is tell people who you think might enjoy it about the work that we're doing. So I think we've got time. I said I'd make one more puppet. We already made a triangle. We're going to do one more puppet character with a rectangle. So I'm taking suggestions from the commenters. What kind of animal should we make for our second cardboard glove puppet? And I'm going to wait for Adam. If Adam's able to do this, I'm going to wait for him to pull one up that's going to go on the main feed and see the one that he might select. I am seeing some love for cats. But I made a lot of cats. I just showed you a cat. We can do something new. Bear. Lyndon Seaman says bear. And you know what? I kind of love that because we actually made a square bear before as one of the villains of the story that we're working on Mondays and Fridays. But I didn't love the way it turned out. And I thought about, oh, here's why it might not look a lot like a bear. So I think a bear is a good way to go. And you know what? Since I've already got it out, I think we can make a pink bear. I'm going to round this off just a little bit because we don't want our bear to be too severe. especially when you're making flat puppets, just like when you're designing a cartoon character, a really great place to start is with some basic shapes. Start with a circle, a triangle, an oval, a square. And then if you want to make it a little more organic, you can start rounding it off, but you still have that basic strong shape underneath that's guiding your design and that's making your design simple and something that speaks really loudly. You can get as complex as you want, but when you start with simple shapes, I find that your character design can be really bold. And I like a bold character design that reads really strongly. All right. So I've glued my paper to my piece of cardboard. I just had this around, so we're going to make a pink bear. And just like we did with the snail, I'm going to take some inspiration. What kind of a bear is this? Is this a happy bear, an angry bear, a sneaky bear, a sad bear, an embarrassed bear? Embarrassed? No? Okay. Let's see. Who's got an idea? What kind of a bear character are we making with our pink bear here? And I apologize. I know my lights are washing out the colors a little bit, so I hope you can see this is a bright pink bear. Let's see who's got an idea. Shy bear. Ooh. I kind of like a shy bear. I think shy might be fun. So let's see. We started with our square shape. I think let's keep that trend going. So I'm going to take a little bit of my pink. We're going to give our bear some bear ears. And we're going to give our bear some square ears. And just like I did with the main structure of it, I'm not going to keep them totally square. I'm going to round these off just a little bit so that they work better as ears, but they've still got that basic shape going on. They're still more or less squares. We've just added a little detail there. So bear's ears can be kind of rounded. They can kind of come up at the top of the head there. I think we're getting a little bear look there. So we're starting to get a little character. I think I want to add a little detail there, though. I probably should have done that before I cut out my ears, but we can still put it in. I want to do a little bit of fluffiness inside those ears, just to have a little special detail. Just like animals have little floofies going on inside their ears normally. Gives it a little bit of dimension, just like that. Ooh. So I'm going to add a little bit of glue to my fluffy bits that I cut out. And I'm putting that right there. One on each side. Fluffy ears for a fluffy bear. Ooh. There we go. It's a good start. We're going to give our bear definitely some eyes. I think most bears should have eyes. Hello, Leonardo. Thank you so much for joining us. What do you think? Big eyes or small eyes? You know what? Our bear is shy. I think our bear might have kind of little buttony eyes. I think that might be cute. So we're going to do tiny little button bear eyes. Just like this. You can probably see little mini eyes. And you know, our bear is so shy that I think he's kind of bunched up into himself a little bit. So I'm going to put my eyes way down there on my face. Way down there towards the bottom. So that our bear has kind of a tall head and little eyes there. Now, this one, I think I want to try making a slightly 3D effect here for our bear. So I'm going to just do a really simple one. I'm going to fold my paper a little bit so that I can make a muzzle for the bear that sticks out just a little bit. Just like that. Now, one of the mistakes I made when I made my last bear is I made the muzzle a little bit too long. Bears in real life do have kind of a pointy muzzle, but I think when you see them in cartoons, you expect bears to have a more shallow muzzle, a sort of a little cutesy round one. And since this one is especially supposed to be a shy bear, it should definitely not have a long pointy muzzle. So we're just going to do a little one like this. I'm going to add a little bit of glue on this tab that I made. And that's going to give me a way to glue the muzzle onto my bear. And I'm putting it right up under the nose, the eyes like this, kind of sticking out. And then, of course, our bear does need that nose. I'm going to try a slightly bigger nose, bigger than the eyes, to sort of let's see. Is that too big? That's kind of cute. Sort of like the way that looks. I'm going to fold that down actually a little bit because I want this nose to be right here. I want it to be kind of a 3D nose popping out. So we've got our kind of little bear, our little shy bear here. Like I did before, I think on the other one, we want that little glint, that little glint in the eye, that little wet, because our eyes are liquid. Our eyes have got this goop all over them. So they reflect light, and a little bit of white in the dark part of the eye can just give you a little picture, an image that your puppet's eyes are gloopy, even though they're made out of paper. And hopefully they're not gloopy. Otherwise, you know, paper doesn't do well when it gets wet. So I'm going to do a little bit of, oh, don't want to lose that. Little bit of that little reflected bit there. And just like we did last time, we need to make sure that we've got a way to control this puppet. So I'm going to take a little bit of my cardboard, and notice when I cut it, I'm actually making sure that I cut. When you cut this corrugated kind of style of cardboard, you notice that there's these ribs in it. That's what makes it corrugated. There's sort of a wavy strand of paper on the inside. I cut it so that the ribs go across the piece that I cut. And that way it curves very easily to be my control piece. I'm going to break it down now, break it down. I'm going to make a little tab on one end, using my fingers here up in the air to measure that I've got the right size. Just like that. I want to make sure it's nice and tight, so I'm just crimped it a little bit tighter. And now, just like I did before, I'm going to use some of my double-sided foam sticky tape, peel off the extra right here. Put a little bit on each one of my tabs. And I'm going to put that right here on the back of my puppet. Pressing down nice and hard. His name should be Benny the Berry. Quadrilateral bear, QB. And we just made our little shy bear. He does look kind of shy. I think this one turned out a little bit more right. The snail did not look happy in the end. The snail looked kind of shifty. But this guy looks shy. Now, if you wanted to with a puppet like this, you could add a fabric body like I've got on my chicken here. But you know what? I think this guy works pretty well with just the hand. I like the way this guy turned out. Well, I think we're about at the end of all the time that we've got for today. I've got to actually prepare for a lesson I'm teaching a little bit later in the day. But before I go, I wanted to take a second to take any questions that you might have about the stuff that I showed off today, the work that I do at paperheartpuppets.com. Again, for those of you just joining us, and I apologize, I'm doing a little bit much of the sales pitch. I just want to make sure everybody knows where to find us. You can find our webpage at paperheartpuppets.com. That should be down here at the bottom. But most of the content we're doing, you can find on our Facebook page, facebook.com/paperheartpuppets. And that'll have the build along lives on Mondays and Fridays, the videos more or less weekly, and all the other cool stuff that we're working on. So I'm going to let Adam take it. If any of you have any questions that you want to ask.
Yeah, and actually, you know what, Brad, I saw a couple questions coming up earlier too.
Oh, yeah.
One question a bunch of people kept asking is about that big paper head next to you. What is that? Is that a puppet? Does it move? Does it do anything?
What? Sorry, I didn't notice. There's a paper head. I don't see anything. No. Yeah. So this guy right here, I actually put up. This is one of the puppets from Cardboard Explosion. And in the story of Cardboard Explosion, we've got a moment where I invite kids to come up on stage and they make puppet versions of people they know. It's normally their family members, so like their brothers and sisters and their moms and dads and cousins. And their family members, the puppets they make, they have to save the city against something big that's coming to destroy Cardboard City. And that something is this giant, angry, mutant baby. And I call up somebody from the audience. This is actually what we call a costume puppet normally. So it doesn't move and do a lot. It's a pretty simple puppet. Let me see. I think my camera might be a little bit close in. But essentially, this is where I get to sort of embarrass sort of some of the grown-ups who come to the shows. I pick a volunteer, and if no volunteers are forthcoming, I just call on somebody and drag them up on stage. And I put this over them. I tell our kids who've made their puppets that the city is under attack by a giant angry baby, and that our heroes knew that the baby was going to destroy the city because babies, when they're about to destroy a city, do the dance that giant angry babies do when they're going to destroy a city. And I put him on the spot. The volunteer always starts dancing. It is always like one of the most hilarious parts of the show. But it's a really simple puppet. It's a costume puppet. It kind of goes over their head. And if you look very carefully, you'll see a lot of places here we have this fabric cutouts. It works as a scrim. The same thing you might have for other kinds of costume puppets. So this is a black fabric. There's a little bit over the eyebrows here too that's designed so that when there's light pouring at it, like there is when I'm up on a stage, you can see out, but you can't see in. So it just looks like black because we got light coming in from the front, but the person who's inside can see a little bit out, just like you might see in a lot of cosplay big costumes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. Yeah, we have another question here that someone had. Did you take classes for making puppets or did you find out yourself?
That's a really good question. And you can ask that to a lot of puppet makers. I did take some classes for making puppets. I went to art school. I actually was a film major, but I went to art school, one called Rhode Island School of Design. But most of the really useful classes I took were not puppet making classes. I took classes in drawing and sculpture and color theory, and all of that stuff came back and it became part of my puppet making practice. I did get to take some great puppet making classes taught by Erminio Pinque of Big Nazo Puppets. And they taught me how to work with foam and latex and a few of those lovely materials. But most of the things that I'm doing with paper puppets and cardboard come out of a lot of things that I figured out myself, but that were also based on a lot of other art lessons I took. I think it's a great idea for puppet makers. If you want to make puppets, right now is an amazing golden time. There was no YouTube when I was young, and there was no way to sort of find out. You either have to know somebody or do trial and error, or get really lucky to take one of the few classes. But most of the stuff that I figured out how to do, I figured out from other art stuff. And if you want to make puppets, one of the biggest suggestions I can make is don't just take puppet classes, but take all kinds of art classes. And that'll help you learn how to think outside the box and make not just puppets that look like your favorite ones that you see on TV, but puppets that are your unique voice, and so that you can do whatever you've got in your imagination.
That's amazing. That's great. Yeah, we have. I think one more we'll take here is
Sure, yeah.
where. Oh, I just scrolled past it. Where is it? Oh, what is the best part about making paper/cardboard puppets?
What is the best part about making paper/cardboard puppets? Well, I guess there's a few best parts. One of the best parts is that I don't have to pay for foam all the time, because that stuff can get expensive. But really, the biggest reason I make a lot of puppets out of really simple materials, and even though my company is called Paper Heart Puppets, we don't make only puppets out of paper. We do use foam and fabric and all kinds of materials. But one of the reasons I'm most excited about making puppets out of these simple materials is that I think part of my mission as a puppeteer is to help engage people in their own creativity. And I love to talk to kids and families about seeing their own visions and making their own stuff, partly because it's important to be critical and creative thinkers, partly because I think if all of our entertainment comes from stuff that we see on screens and TV, then it kills the creative part of us inside. So I want people to be doing their own creative stuff. And I don't want them to be stopped by materials that are expensive, or materials that you need special tools to work with, or materials that are hard to find. I wanted to be able to go into schools and classrooms and even online and have everybody I'm watching say, I can find that stuff. I can find some cardboard from an old box in my basement. I can find some colorful paper, even if it's at the dollar store for literally $1. And I don't need to have the special glues or special stuff. My school supplies will be enough for me to be super creative and do some really cool stuff.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it sounds like the key is just it's much more accessible than what people might think of about more complex puppets. And what I love about what you're doing too, even though a lot of people might think of a paper puppet and think, oh, a paper puppet, you probably can't make something really nice. But yours, they almost look like Pixar animation almost. You have such a great sense of graphic design that they look stunning.
Oh, thank you so much, Adam. I try to do it. I find a lot of people when they do kids crafts, they keep it really overly simplified. They're saying like, I want to make something so that it's just like exactly what they'll do. But I'm not going to pretend I didn't go to art school. I went to art school, and I like the stuff to be aspirational and the show like, oh, it doesn't have to be just the super simple version. It doesn't have to be like crazy complex, but you can put a lot of work and a lot of thought into it. And I want people to sort of reach for different ways that they can experiment with these really simple and really accessible materials.
Yeah, that's great. And one more thing I want to show people right here as well. I have up, hopefully I can add it in. There it is. This is Facebook is a really great way to follow Brad and Paper Heart projects as well. They have tons of projects all the time. This was a stunning little video using a bunch of your little paper puppets.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, these are the little fancy finger puppets I've got now, and we go step by step through all the steps you need to make those. We do that for a lot of the projects that we've got and videos on the page.
Yeah, and here it looks. We have your big baby there. Here's your fox puppet. When I saw this picture on your Facebook, and I thought it was much smaller. I thought it was like a little small finger puppet. That style is so brilliant, and I hope that's really inspiring to people. And let me go over to your photo shoot just so people can see all the amazing work that you've been able to do here. Definitely check out Paper Heart Puppets on Facebook. And of course, your YouTube channel and all those things. And we'll make sure to put some links to that up here as well.
Oh, thanks so much, Adam. I really appreciate that. And I've really appreciated just meeting some of your audience here. I've had a great time building some puppets with all of them.
Oh, it's been a great time. Well, is anything else? Is that it?
I think that's all I got to say. So, yeah.
Oh, we have one more question here. Do you sell puppets?
Do I sell puppets? You know what? I don't. And I think a lot of your viewers have probably found this is that puppets can take so much time and love to make that I've never found that I could sell them for enough.
Yeah. That's kind of where I am too. People always ask me where, if I sell puppets, but the same type of thing. It's not very really viable in that way. That's why I like to teach people how to make them. It's like, no, you don't need a puppet made by me. It is more special and better if you can make one yourself. And I'll teach you how. And Mr. Brad Shur from Paper Heart Puppets will also show you how.
Yeah, although I might have to rethink things. I don't know how long we're going to be on lockdown. I'm like, I don't make puppets. I go out and do puppet shows, but I can't do that right now. So we're figuring out the model is different. Who knows? Maybe next week I'll be like, you know what? Actually, maybe.
That's right. So definitely, if you want to see an update of, you can maybe even purchase one of Brad's puppets someday. Definitely make sure you follow him everywhere you can find him on Facebook. Are you on Instagram?
I'm not on Instagram yet. I probably will be within the month.
Yeah. Be great on Instagram. You got to get on Instagram.
Yeah.
He's going to make an Instagram. If you want to follow that, make sure you follow his Facebook so you can get an update on that.
If I am on Instagram soon, you'll find it on my Facebook. I'll make an announcement.
Yes. Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, again, Brad, thank you so much for coming on. I think people are responding really great to this. They love it. And I look forward to seeing the rest of the work that you come up with.
All right. Thank you again so much, Adam. I'm always so inspired by all the stuff that you're putting together. I super appreciate being able to connect with your group here. Thanks, everybody, and have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.